Hey mathematicians, we're going to apply our knowledge of multiplication strategies to multi-step multiplication number stories today. We're going to start out with some fact fluency because once we know our multiplication facts well, we can solve division problems. So we're thinking about 24 divided by 6. We could ask yourself what number times 6 will equal 24, and I know that that is 4. With 360 divided by 6, I can ignore the 0 and think what is 36 divided by 6, or what number times 6 equals 36, that's 6, and then I have to put that 0 back in there. 60 times 6 equals 360. 560 divided by 70, this time I have a 0 in both, so we can actually cancel those out and say 56 divided by 7 equals 8, and 8 times 70 equals 560. Today, though, we're focusing on multi-step multiplication problems and using estimates to assess the reasonableness of our answers. So when we estimate, is it reasonable, the answer we get? So we have Mr. Swanson, and he has $350 to order music books for the new school year. Music books cost $10 each and come in packages of 5. Mr. Swanson orders 6 packages. How much money will he have left after he buys the books? Lots of information here. I'm going to start out by just making note of the information. He has $350. We've got books that are $10 each, but they are in packages of 5. And he orders 6 packages. I just like to pull the information out of the problem for myself so I don't get confused. We could look at this a couple different ways. I could start by figuring out how much each package would cost by using this information and writing a number model of $10 times 5 equals $50 per package. So I know for every package I'm going to spend $50 and then take the $50 times 6 to determine that he would spend $300 on all the books. He had $350 to begin with, so how much is he going to have left? 350 minus 300 would give us $50 left over. Okay. You might be thinking to yourself, Mr. Shrink, I wouldn't have done it that way. Still keeping the same information, you might have started out by saying 6 packages with 5 in each package. You would have 6 times 5 equals 30 books, and then taken the 30 times $10, since each one is $10 each, and gotten $300. We still got $300 is how much he spent. And with our final step being that we take the $350, subtract the $300 he spent, and there's still $50 left over. Either way, I'm able to write out the number models that I'm using to solve and be able to get my final answer. Okay, when you're doing these number stories today, be thinking about how can you write out those number models to get to your answer. All right, let's look at a different one. Mr. Swanson also needs new strings for his 19 violin students. Each violin has 4 strings. Strings are $2 each and come in sets of 4. Mr. Swanson decides to buy 2 sets of strings for each student. How much money should Mr. Swanson take to the store to be sure he has enough for all the strings? Well, when we look at this problem, we see 19, 4, $2, 4. We might want to think about estimating first, because when I look at the question, how much money should Mr. Swanson take to the store to be sure he has enough, doesn't mean I need to know exactly how much he needs. I just need to be sure he has more than enough. So when I see 19 violin students and I'm making an estimate, I want to round that to 20 students because that's going to be a number that's going to be easier for me to work with. And each violin has 5 strings. They come in sets of, 4 strings. They come in sets of 4. So I think we can leave it at that. So it's $2 a set of 4. And he's going to buy 2 sets for each student. Making a note of all my information again. So when we look at that, we're thinking $2 for set times 2. He's going to spend $4 for every student. If he has $4 for every student times the 20 students he has, he needs to spend $80. Okay. That will ensure that he has enough for all the students because we rounded up to 20 students. Oh, boys and girls, I'm noticing my mistake. Sorry, I got quiet for a moment. I looked back at my information and it wasn't $2 a set. It was $2 each. So I've done this incorrectly because I read the problem incorrectly. To me, that didn't seem like enough money. And so my answer wasn't reasonable. And it got me to thinking, did I do wrong? $2 each for a violin string is very different than $2 a set. So $2 each, and there's 4 strings a set. That changes things a bit. Now we have to say $2 times every string is going to be $8 a set. He wants 2 sets for each student, so $8 times 2 gives every student's going to cost $16. Now we're looking at $16 times our 20 students. Maybe I even want to estimate further and say it's about, if he had $20 for every 20 students, he could take $400, and we know he definitely have enough. Okay? But if we want to find the exact answer, let me do that in a different color. I'd still be working with $8 for each 2 sets, so it's still $16 is the exact amount. But I'm going to go back and look, and I had 19 students. So I'm going to do 16 times 19. Here's where you can use one of your multiplication strategies. I'm going to go down here where I have a little extra workspace and solve. I'm going to use lattice. That seemed to be the strategy most of you chose in your practice the other day. So I'm going to try it. 16 times 19, 6, 1, 6 times 9 is 54, 9 times 1 is 9. Now I am at 20, 2, carry my 2, 3, and I got $304. So if you took $400, you definitely have enough, but almost too much. So we can say, well, our estimate would have been reasonable. It kind of would have given us way too much money. What if we had left it to 16 times 20? 16 times 2, I can still think, well, I know 10 times 2 is 20, and 6 times 2 is 12. So it would be 32. The zero, $320, might have been a more reasonable amount for him to take, knowing he was going to spend $304. So those estimates just help us make sure our answers are on the right track. And make sure, as I did, that you're reading the problems carefully. So you're going to try some of this work. It's going to ask you to estimate. It's going to ask you to show your number models. So what is it which numbers are you multiplying or adding or subtracting, just like we did up here, to get to your final answer. On your practice pages, you're doing pages 137 and 138. You have 4 number stories to try. And then as we've been doing, continue practicing those multiplication facts. Good luck, mathematicians.